Persona 5 was originally released on the PS4 back in late November, or rather September, to be exact, of 2017, and it's the 5th game in the Persona franchise. And I'm a newbie of the Persona franchise. This is my first game in the series, so I'm really excited to be playing it. And what, at least this game in particular, follows unfortunate, or rather the misfortune of our main protagonist. I think he sometimes referred to as Akira. You can give him a different name in the game, kind of like Tidus in Final Fantasy X. He's labeled a criminal delinquent at this point because he was actually trying to rescue a young girl from being harassed by this mysterious man, which turns out that apparently he's a very important figure when it comes to Japanese, culture, especially in that part of Japan. And the guy is starting to sue our main protagonist, and as such, he reports him to the police, and he has a record on him. So his life is turned upside down, not in a way like Fresh Prince, unfortunately, but if he behaves, he's fine, but if he were to do something else stupid, he's basically going to be thrown in jail, or serves a significant amount of time for his actions. But as a result, he is summoned using a smartphone app that will not be removed, that cannot be removed from his phone, and he's thrown into a weird, to an alternate dimension where he has to go through palaces in order to change the hearts of questionable celebrities. And case in particular is of a man who is actually a former Olympian volleyball champion, who apparently is not the greatest person as people say that he is. But that is Persona 5 in a nutshell. So this is actually basically continues. This is a theme, rather, that goes through the whole game. And just to give you a rundown of what to expect, this actually has really good music, especially if you're a fan of smooth jazz. I really like the music. It might be out of place, but it grows on you. And of course, it's an Atlas game, but it's published by Sega. But Sega historically, they've had some really good games with some catchy titles, or catchy tunes rather, so I totally, if that's your thing, I will go for that. But the gameplay is an RPG / social life sim, so I personally like games like that. I don't know why it took me so long to actually play this, but that's my jam. But also the RPG, it's a little different from Final Fantasy games, at least for me. I'm so used to playing Final Fantasy and okay, it's this, use that will kill it, that stuff. But also it's connected to the Shin Megami Tensei universe, which that's probably something I need to look into in the future. But of course, as of recording this, the 5th game in the series is underway for release for the Switch. But so it's a little bit of a learning curve for me for this, an RPG outside of the Final Fantasy universe. And also the graphics are really good, and of course it is basically like you're playing a visual novel with RPG elements and a social sim aspect of it as well. Kind of like a mobile game nowadays. But I am actually really enjoying it, and I totally recommend it. But this is for the vanilla version. There is Persona 5 Royal as well, which came out a few years later after the release of the original Persona 5. So I unfortunately missed out on that, since I paid for the original version was on a deep sale on the PlayStation Network store. But if I were to play Persona 5, I would totally try out the Royal version. Or if you just happen to, if you are not sure, go buy it. It's up to you, but I would recommend the Royal version, since apparently that's what Atlus likes to do with their games, especially with Persona 4, since they released the Golden version, which is a repackaged version of the first game. So that is my 5-minute review. I totally recommend it. I give it a 5 out of 5, and our time is now up.